Welcome to my Game Week 6 team selection video. I'm going to start with my wildcard strategy, which I think quite a few of you will like, then I'll move on to the team reveal. It's very likely that I will be activating my wildcard ahead of the Game Week 8 deadline. As you can see on the screen, there's quite a few fixture swings. I'm using my attack fixture difficulty ratings as an example. I publish this and the defensive ones on Twitter every game week. So for me, I own triple Liverpool, triple Arsenal, Chelsea and Brighton. Yeah, they're decent teams, but for those of you that's followed me for long enough, you'd know that I am a fixture man. I'd like to own players from the following teams for this block of fixtures: Aston Villa, Newcastle, West Ham, Leicester and Fulham. Now initially that does sound a little bit ridiculous because these teams haven't had the best of starts. But keep an open mind, this is based on a small sample size, there might be a little bit of recency bias there as well. Another thing to consider, we pick the players, not the teams. Now obviously we're not going to have all of these players, but these are ones to consider: Watkins, Isak, Wilson, Bowen, Maddison, Barnes, Vardy and Mitrovic. These are just the attackers for example, we'd obviously consider the defenders as well. As we're aware, all these players are fully capable of providing good value for money, especially in these favourable fixtures. Just to put it out there as well, there's obviously 15 slots available. They're not all going to be from these teams. We still need 2 premiums for captaincy rotation, so we're going to pick based on the captaincy matrix. I'm not ruling out Salah or Jesus either. Of course this strategy works for my team, but it is team dependent, so Game Week 9 might be more suitable for your team. I have actually considered Game Week 9 myself, it just doesn't offer as much upside for my team. I'd have 3 Liverpool players against Chelsea away, a Chelsea player against Liverpool at home. Then from my Arsenal and Brighton fixtures, yeah they're not the most difficult, but they're also not the easiest. Instead, if I move early, I'd have Villa players against Southampton at home, Newcastle players against Bournemouth at home, West Ham players against Everton away, and Fulham players against Forest away. There is a slight drawback for moving early on the wildcard. I'd have a Leicester player against Spurs away. I think it'd be Maddison, and I'd probably bench him to save the free transfer for what it's worth. Luckily enough, I can play Nico Williams against Fulham at home. There are hidden benefits to a viable wildcard plan. It enables me to take 2 short-term punts with my free transfers and dead end my team. If I'm certain that I want to do that ahead of the Game Week 7 deadline, I can activate my wildcard that night, catch some price rises, and avoid some potential price drops as well. It's important to bear in mind that we still need to be flexible and adapt if any circumstances change. Moving on to the team reveal, I'm delighted to tell you that it's going to be one of my Leicester players that's leaving my team. Obviously it'd be Iverson and not Ward. Ward's still playing, yeah he's collecting a small amount of points, but it's better off having that insurance on the bench. I'll discuss this more in depth later on in the video in the transfer section. Moving on to the defence, Trent and Diaz are both staying, there's no point shifting them on, they've both got decent fixtures, they're pretty reliable for clean sheets, and Trent's got that attacking potential as well. I've got my first benching headache of the season. Do I start Nico Williams against Bournemouth at home, or Cucurella against West Ham at home? Whilst Chelsea have the slightly higher clean sheet odds, Nico offers more attacking threat, plus he's got higher expected minutes. I do fancy him in that favourable fixture against Bournemouth at home. Cucurella's playing against West Ham at home. It's not too bad of a fixture, but it's not necessarily easy. Moving on to the midfield, I bought Gross previously for this nice block of fixtures. He's got another one, it's Leicester at home, who haven't kept a clean sheet all season. Salah faces Everton away from home in the Merseyside derby. He's one of the captaincy candidates this game week for me. Martinelli bagged a 10-pointer in his last match. He's still providing great value for money. He's going nowhere. I'm hoping Luis Diaz still gets the minutes up until my first wildcard. I'll be monitoring his expected minutes over the next 2 game weeks. Saka got his 3rd assist of the season, but his FPL points this season haven't been good enough. I can't wait to offload him on the Game Week 8 wildcard, but I'm going to keep him for the foreseeable future. He plays against United and Everton. They're decent fixtures. Up front, we've got another captaincy candidate. It's Kane against Fulham at home. Kane's not been too bad since I bought him, but Haaland's been on fire. It was difficult last game week not owning him. I'm hoping Kane makes up for it, gets a haul this game week, and hopefully Haaland comes off the bench with a cameo. As for Jesus, he's staying in the team for the next 2 fixtures. I've got a big decision to make on the Game Week 8 wildcard. Do I keep Jesus because he's underpriced, or do I offload him because he's got difficult fixtures? Either way, it's important to keep an open mind. I'll take a look at his expected value closer to the time and his alternative options up front as well. He is the most owned player in the game, but one thing I don't consider him a decision is ownership. Now for the goalkeeper transfer. If you watch my team selection videos, you'd know that it wasn't worth spending 4 points and a hit to upgrade my goalkeeper. But now I know that my wildcard's in a couple of game weeks, I know that there's not much risk. It's very unlikely that this free transfer will result in a hit in one game week. There's no outfield player in my team that needs to be upgraded. I've got that money in the bank to finally put that fire out in the goalkeeper position. I wish I went with Sanchez from the start, but there's no point crying over spilt milk. We've got to look forward and not backwards. His next two fixtures are easier overall. He plays for a solid defence in Brighton. They've got the least amount of goals conceded in the whole league this season, whilst Leicester's defence is one of the worst. Not only that, he's better than Ward across the board. He gets more save points and bonus as well. Unsurprisingly, his clean sheet odds and points projections are much higher across the next 2 game weeks. Thanks for watching. If you want to know who my captain is, check out my best captain video. I've analysed all the data and concluded with the one who I think is the best. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any of these videos.